Welcome back to Xnergy Awani. Moving on, a ripple of confidence is sweeping through Malaysia's solar industry, even as the United States imposes import duties of up to 3,521% on panels from Southeast Asia. And local firms focusing on engineering, procurement, construction and project development rather than upstream manufacturing remain insulated from these tariffs. Backed by the National Energy Transition Roadmaps, or NETR, push towards 70% renewable energy by 2050, domestic demand is surging, major clean energy investments are lining up, and foreign investors continue eyeing Malaysia as a regional hub for green growth. Some say challenges still lie in scaling infrastructure, navigating trade dynamics, and leveraging Malaysia's ASEAN role. And we are going to take a look at all of it now. And our guest is ready in the studio with me right now, which is Chuan Zhen, the Group CEO and also co-founder of Plus Xnergy. Thank you so much for joining me, Chuan Zhen, this morning. First of all, before we go deep into the discussion, help us understand how is the tariff announced by Donald Trump on 2nd April will, in a way, affect the solar industry in Malaysia?
Yeah. So for this President Trump, this announcement really bring a lot of different impact. So I would like to say, if for this solar industry globally, actually since 2 years back, they've already facing the challenge of the supply actually is over the demand. That's why since last year, before Trump, they increased the tariff. For most of the manufacturers, actually right now, I would say majority of them, they are from China. They have already reduced their production line and also have some of like layoff to lower down their production in order to make sure the solar panels on the demand side and on the supply side is about the same. Because in the past few years, actually the solar price dropped a lot. That's why I would say this year onward, actually beginning of this year, before the Trumps, they announced this tariff hike, actually the price has already slightly increased. So right now, after the President Trump has announced for the tariff rate, what we will see is the reductions of the productions from a solar panel globally. This gap is bigger, or if let's say all the solar panel couldn't import to the US market, the gap is bigger. So which gap is bigger right now, it will be mainly, we'll see how will this impact on the global solar industry in terms of the raw material price and also solar panel price. And for what we forecast and also for what we see is, since the production has already reduced, however, definitely US is quite a big market. Okay. But I believe for most of the manufacturers, they will be able to, mainly from China, they will be able to react and also to ensure maybe the solar panel price, it will be remain or maybe slightly increase, but it won't really like further drop further like what happened before, because this is some kind of the risk control that most of the manufacturers globally, they have already foresee. So if we back to Malaysia, what happened in Malaysia for the whole ecosystem? For upstream, definitely we all know Malaysia used to be the world's third largest manufacturing country who produced a lot of solar panels. Yeah. But since last year, we see there's a lot of these, couple of them, the Chinese manufacturer who set up factory in Malaysia, they've already moved up from Malaysia. It's because they found there's no much difference if you made in Malaysia or made in China. Every one of them, actually, they will get impacted by the import of the tax. Correct. If, let's say, they import to the US market. So that will be mainly impact on the Chinese manufacturers, those manufacturers who are mainly on the Chinese, they're mainly from China. But if we look into Malaysia companies, most of us actually, we are in the value chain of the downstream, which is on the EPC side, project management, and also project as a project developer. Okay. Yeah. So on this value chain of players, actually in Malaysia, we are using the product from manufacturers. So I wouldn't see there's much impact over here. It's because if we look into the whole downstream market, it eventually is building on the energy, clean energy infrastructure like solar power plant, battery power plants, and so on. So if you look into Malaysia, this year, actually by mid of the year, ST, which is Energy Commission, Suruhanjaya Tenaga, they have already announced that they will have a tariff adjustment, which means the energy price actually it will go up for most of the energy consumer like 100%. Us. Yeah, so it's definitely will increase. At the same time, for the country, we still right now there's a lot of FDI, foreign investors who are looking into Southeast Asia region, and Malaysia is one of them. So besides data center, there's a lot of other these different industries that are looking to invest in Malaysia. So with the energy increase, and for those foreign investors who are coming in, they are also looking for clean energy.
Yeah.
So I would say, because of all this, I would say the demand is still there, which is investors still there, energy demand still there, and then Malaysia, we have to increase the tariff rate. So all this situation, actually, it will also still have to, I would say the demand for clean energy is still there. Yeah, the demand for clean energy is still there. So that's why I wouldn't see Malaysia companies who are more focused in terms of EPC and also on the project investment developer side, it will have a lot of impact. So what we probably will face the impact will be on the uncertainty on the currency, on the US dollar currency, and also the solar panel price. It will be probably a little bit uncertain. Yeah, but what we foresee, it will be probably remain or maybe slight increase. Yeah, so that would be the situations.
Can you actually forecast about how many percent it will increase? Because we know the demand and the interest for installation of solars to their houses, to our houses, is increasing as well. So about how many percent can you forecast for us?
If let's say on the TNB tariff rate, I think it's something which based on what TNB have announced, we know there will be some certain adjustment there. So I think the best is let's wait for that.
Okay.
But I think definitely easily for 5% onwards, yeah, that will be the numbers where we will see it will be increased. So I think, however, something good is beside the tariff increase, actually there's an alternative solution, which is on the clean energy side. So to further move on is Malaysia right now, since last year, there's a new policy will come out for most of our energy consumer, which is about the same timing when TNB announced they are going to increase tariff rate. And this new policy is a new upgraded policy for self-consumption. So which means for factory who 100% use for TNB right now, or maybe they can install solar on their roof right now, they will have chances to go for 100% renewable energy by installing solar system and battery storage on their roof and also on the ground. If let's say there are factory around the area, there's a land which is nearby and also just next to their land or within their premise. So this will be able to help them previously there's a cap, the limit for you to install renewable energy, which is 85% of your maximum demand. So end of last year, which is on December, they just removed this cap. So which means without this cap, you can go for almost 100% of renewable energy. So this will become clean energy, which is solar plus battery, has become an alternative energy source for most of the manufacturers out there who purely just stick with the utility tariff, this grid and also the source in the past. So I would say this will make the business more vibrant in terms of an alternative solution, because right now with solar and battery, you will be able to make your clean energy able to store and for use. And battery technology actually is something quite new. It's just like solar in about 13 years back. So the benefit of battery, besides make the whole building energy supply and also on the demand side is much more stabilized. Secondly, they can bring a lot of more energy saving for the building. Just imagine, for a factory today, they will be able to use the battery storage to charge, because usually for factory they will have an off-peak tariff and also the peak tariff, which is much higher. So they will be able to charge during the off-peak period, which is the tariff in the lower rate at the night, and then to discharge it for the peak period, which is in the daytime. So this will be the first advantage by battery storage technology. Secondly is for most of the factory, there's a maximum demand, which means our utility company, they will charge when you have a surcharge on your energy spike. So they will pick the highest one, and then they will charge you a fee there, which called maximum demand charges. So when you have battery technology, you'll be able to shift this maximum demand by discharge your battery, which is stored by solar, or let's say during the night time, to offset some of those peak shaving for the maximum demand. So I would say, definitely we know the whole country Malaysia tariff rate is one of the cheapest in the region, or let's say in the world. So despite of there's some increase, but at least there's some of alternative energy solution, which commercially, financially, and technology-wise point of view is something workable and also feasible.
And you mentioned earlier that Malaysian companies right now is mainly focused on downstream sort of activities. So how can actually Malaysia leverage this now, like the US import duty? So how can we actually leverage this so-called strength?
So I would say since Malaysia right now in terms of in South Asia country, compare with a lot of country right now is under the limelight in terms of renewable energy expansion due to the political stability compared with the rest of other country. Due to the clean energy policy is there, especially under the NATR, as what we have mentioned during the opening. Yeah. So right now, besides Philippines, Malaysia is one of these, I would say, hottest market in Southeast Asia. So this also able to attract more foreign investors coming to Malaysia. And for local player, I would say you have a lot of combination like EPC company combined with a project investor, the developer together to further develop for all these chances. Because we do have this, besides self-consumption, there's new policy, we do have this corporate renewable energy supply scheme, which is CRESS, which is able to, for us to able to generate renewable energy power and then to sell through the grid to a factory or let's say to any these industrial plants, let's say in the different region. For example, the plants at Johor like data center, and then we build a solar farm at Kedah, so we will be able to sell energy to them. So this will make Malaysia that in terms of a local energy infrastructures development, the business activity, still able to drive a country economy. Yeah, because if let's say upstream, we will just purely, we are not the technology owner on the solar panel side, and then just purely to provide a space for the foreign investor to produce their product and to sell to US market. So Malaysia is probably just as a like landlord and also some job opportunity. But in terms of a real economic drive, downstream is a key for us. And downstream, the strength of Malaysia EPC and as a developer is something what we see able to scale to the different region as well, like Philippines and also like upcoming like Indonesia and some other country.
But are there possible other challenges when it comes to regulatory, financial, or perhaps technical that will stand in the way of this mass adoption of solar? And for example, and Malaysia is actually at risk of being used as a transshipment hub to bypass tariffs, and how could this impact the long term of this whole ecosystem of solar?
Yeah, so definitely Malaysia will lose some of income in terms of solar panel manufacturers. They will no longer just look for Malaysia. Yeah, so there's a lot of different places which they will look for that. But at the same time, I will see there's a lot of different alternative industrial investors who are looking to set up their factory in Malaysia. Definitely, they were able to fill the gap. So that's on the upstream part. If we do into downstream in terms of how can this Malaysia still able to grow the renewable energy industry without much impact from a US tariff rate, the tariff incidents. Definitely in terms of the policy side, I will say right now Malaysia is much better than before in terms of we have like new self-consumption, we have a NAM there, LSS 5 plus and LSS 6 is all upcoming, and also for CRESS, all this policy is actually there, and also there's a CREAM. CREAM is for residential houses that you will be able just to lease your house out for some corporate nearby your house within this 5 kilometer. You are able to lease your house to install solar and to sell energy to them. So actually this will make the whole energy industry more vibrant and also liberate the whole energy industry. So I don't see much challenge in terms of policy, probably just need to take time to implement it, and also the authority in terms of approval, how to streamline the whole approval process, that will be the key. Technology-wise, Malaysia, in terms of country grid, we can absorb about 12 gigawatt of solar energy. So in the first half, which is 6 gigawatt solar energy, is just purely solar energy itself. For the second half of a 6 gigawatt solar energy, we have to come with solar and battery. This is for the grid stabilization, for the country national grid security, because if you just purely rely on solar, it all depends on the weather, so your grid in terms of energy demand and the supply side, it will be not stable. So with battery storage there, right now this is the demand, and definitely there's a lot of detailed engineering and regulation stuff with something that we have to do. So for example, plus Xnergy, we are doing the first battery energy storage solution at the solar farm site. That's the first one that connect to the utility grid. So definitely we have to go through like with energy commissions, with TMB, to make sure the whole grid in terms of design and also testing commissioning for the grid injections is something they're able to provide the stability injection and the connection to the grid level. So I will see more projects like what we are doing right now. It will keep on coming, and probably I will put a year, probably about 12 months, to 18 months as a learning period for most people to adopt and get used to solar. This battery storage. It's just like solar energy happened in about 13 years back. So once this stabilizes in terms of engineering requirement, definitely it will standardize in terms of product requirement, and also let's say like bomba safety requirement in terms of fire hazard. How can we minimize it? It will be stabilized. So I will able to see all these things like battery energy storage as a new technology. It will be able to scale and also getting more common, even though to the household area as well. Yeah. So on financial point of view, definitely right now for battery energy storage investment, and also plus solar together, the payback period, it could be slightly longer, probably like about 5 years, or maybe some can be like about 7 years. Yeah, I mean, when you have a tax incentive, maybe you can be about like 5 years for a payback period. So definitely right now, I will see along the years when this economic scale and also when this battery energy storage price become cheaper, definitely you were able to reach like what solar able to achieve today, like about within 3 years, there will be a payback period. Yeah. So I'm quite positive in terms of looking to this because we have went through this cycle in 13 years back when we deploy solar as a new technology for the whole market. So right now, at least there are some excitement for the whole industry to embrace a new technology.
Now we're more prepared, I can say.
Yeah, I would say definitely we are more prepared because we have went through that before in terms of infrastructure, in terms of regulations, in terms of engineering know-how. We are all there.
I mean, this is a very interesting conversation to talk about, but unfortunately, we only have 1 minute left. And perhaps before we end this discussion, like I mentioned earlier, Malaysia has among the lowest tariff imposed, which is 24% among other countries in the same region. But what if in the future the tariff rate is prolonged and at the same time is increased, perhaps? So what can you say about that on the future outlooks?
I would say definitely we wish the tariff impact for Malaysia is always the lowest one. Then is where we can have more competitive in terms of the country. We can attract more FDI, or even though for made in Malaysia that we are able to impose to the rest of the country. So I would say it's pretty important still for us to really select like which industry to focus. Yeah, which industry, the country that we're focused. But if let's say the whole global supply chains right now have totally changed because of all this tariff change. So in terms of, we have to choose like some other country or let's say domestic market. How can we increase the percentage of domestic market for Malaysia that able to self-consume for most of this production and also within the country instead of to rely on some certain country or for export. I think it's a long way to go for us to refigure out in terms of a whole ecosystem when the global supply chain has totally changed recently.
And we can focus on the midterm and also short-term solutions for now. And that's the sharing by Chuan Zhen, the co-founder of Plus Xnergy. Thank you so much for coming all the way to our studio this morning. And I hope this conversation, whole discussion also, discussion or interview can be found on all of our social media platforms, and that includes astroawani.com. Thank you so much.